G'day, gang. I want to talk about a topic today that's particularly near and dear to my heart. As always, it's like what I do. I wanted to talk about visual effects. There are a lot of people who really don't like VFX, and they say that the movie has become less because of the visual effects involved in the movie. But I think that having, as always, it's almost like I say the same thing about multiple topics, having a black and white opinion is a bit silly. There are really good examples of movies that don't use VFX that are particularly awesome because of it. So, a long time ago, I'm dating myself. A very long time ago, there was a couple of movies that came out around a similar time and had really groundbreaking ways of puppetry and costuming and all of those sorts of things that we haven't seen before or since in the same degree. So Labyrinth was a very, very old movie with David Bowie. Oh, rest in peace. And puppetry was like one of the focuses, one of the main methods of doing what VFX would have otherwise done. Same with costuming. It was a really, really well done and fantastically executed movie. And it just was genuinely interesting how they made the characters feel so alive, despite that technological limitations at that time were pretty rough. Another example was Dark Crystal, which I think is usually the example that people give more so than Labyrinth, but using the puppetry and, again, like the costuming that they did in the ways that they did was so unique and wonderful that it was particularly captivating. But I think these works stand out because that they have quality and significant effort applied. And I think that is the same for VFX. I don't think that there is like, I don't think there are like movies that you can say shouldn't exist because VFX is negative. I think that's a really stupid opinion personally. And I think that one of my favorite examples of VFX done so incredibly well is Quicksilver's like super speed in X-Men Apocalypse. And I am biased because I used to live down the street from the company that made those visual effects, and it is an awesome company. And I knew a bunch of people that worked there. It's a small town, but it was a particularly awesome like storyboarding experience, I think, too, because like the way that you look at each scene is so intentionally done to very, very expressly show the character and the way that they interact with other circumstances. And it's one of those moments where you are obviously just like right place, right time. And you shouldn't do that a lot in a story, but I think the moments that you do it, you should do it like this because it's great. Have the character really convey themselves, run around the mansion and save all these people, including the fish and the dog. And the perspective that you have as he's running at the camera, or he's like interacting with pieces of exploding debris as they slightly react to his presence because he is fast, but he's still interacting with stuff, is really cool. And it just expresses how I think that you really couldn't do that in any other way. It shows that the character is so interactive with his environment, and it's just awesome how daring and brave this character is to just go and show that a little bit of ego there too, that he's just like, I can do that, but then show that the ego is justified in that he saves everybody. And you can't do that without VFX. I think VFX done well are just awesome and they can be the icing on what is already a delicious cake. And another example, I'm going to use Rising Sun Pictures again because they're awesome. The green fire in Game of Thrones. I'm just going to say that and not say any spoilers because I'm hardcore anti-spoilers even on old content, okay? Even on old content. They didn't need to show each part of the particular area being exploded. They didn't need to go through the sneaking camera, what feels like going through those certain sections, trying to use specific words to not give it away. But they didn't need to do that. That wasn't essential, but the way that it was done, they made it essential. Because the slow motion, the building tension, the discomfort, the horror that established made that narrative that much more meaty. And it really made that so much heavier. And so that is the best example, again, of using what tools we have to strengthen the narrative, to push the narrative, because as always, when storytelling, everything is about the story. And VFX can strengthen that. And I think Green Fire, I think, is the most visceral and discomforting way to really show the power that we can use with our storytelling tools, in specifics VFX, to express the gravity of character actions. I think just as using puppetry in Dark Crystal and Labyrinth is so awesome, like little Fizzgig going with their little footsies. Oh my gosh, something was picking up on the mic. I'm sorry if you just got a gust of wind from my hand footsies. But my hand footsies, they're just hands, but as I was mimicking footsies, don't judge my language, okay? Don't judge my dyslexia. But I think that those really powerful little bits of puppetry add to the story, because little Fizzgig having a temper tantrum just so fits. And it could be what is otherwise known as filler. It could be fluff. It could be nonsense. But it's baked into the narrative. It's one of the essential cogs that makes this thing move so cohesively and beautifully. That there's this little character that's having a temper tantrum, and it shows the patience of Kira to just say, come on, you can do it. And it expressly shows so beautifully the relationship between the characters. I really hope I'm not misremembering that moment. It's been a really long time since I watched Dark Crystal. Now I want to rewatch it, obviously. The OG, not the series. The series, I don't have an opinion on. I watched it. Cool. But the OG movie was awesome. And those little moments, they add so much, because if you keep thinking about making sure that you're showing the characters and the way that they express themselves, and again with the Quicksilver example of him really showing his personality, in the way that he the technology is used to allow him to show that, it's really cool to do that. And I think that any actor who gets to sit in a little costume and do I'm doing this not in front of my mic this time, hopefully it's not loud, with little Fizzgig having a temper tantrum, or Quicksilver running around the mansion, or a brooding character enjoying watching green flame, like, these stuff couldn't exist without the technology that we have, be it puppetry or visual effects, but we need one of the two to make these otherworldly stories able to be told. So I personally am a massive fan of what we can do with technology, but I'm always a fan of utilizing whatever tools we, as storytellers, have to tell stories. But I'm a big fan of technology in general because I love gaming so much, and that is a complete technological field. So, but yeah, how do you guys feel about the implementation of VFX? Do you have your favorite scenes where you think it's really cool? It doesn't necessarily have to propel the narrative, but if it's really cool, it usually propels the story, like the good old Hulk smashing Loki. That's such a good moment. That's so perfectly shows those two characters. Couldn't do that without VFX. I mean, without some sort of technology. Yeah, I don't know if you guys know, but we really don't have big, tall, green humans. But yeah, like and comment if you want more. Tell me if you hate the topic. Tell me if you think I said something really stupid. If I did a dyslexia and used the wrong word, please tell me. I'm very dyslexic at crazy o'clock in the morning, unsurprisingly. But yeah, if you really want me to stay on the platform, dropping me a sub means the world. I hate asking that. I hate saying that. It feels so gross, but it genuinely means so much. And I know that the more I say it, the more that people understand the significance of it. It doesn't cost you anything, but it gives me so much more than I can express. Thank you all for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.